We're glad you could join us. So we're doing the post-fight video for Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois. I told you. I told you. I told you. Listen, I don't know why. And I don't understand why. And I've never understood why. When it comes to Anthony Joshua, it's like everything goes out the window because he's got big muscles and he's strong and he's had some knockouts. I don't know what people seem to forget the realities of things, and a lot of people tend to overlook other people's abilities and and stats just to make Joshua look better than he actually is. I've seen this over and over and over again. Like, come Joshua week, everyone jumps on Joshua. Joshua's going to win the fight. Joshua's going to win the fight. Oh, Joshua's going to knock a person out because Daniel Dubois doesn't speak as well as Joshua, or because Daniel Dubois isn't, I don't know, whatever. The fact of the matter is, Joshua was facing a Daniel Dubois who had just been in Filip Hrgović. Now, I said, all Joshua had to do is double up the jab. All Dubois had to do is double up the jab, jump on Joshua, and push him back. We saw against Andy Ruiz, when you push Joshua back and you attack him, there are openings there. And if you hit him hard enough, he's not going to offer any sort of resistance, very little resistance. And all I kept hearing about in this was Ben Davidson. Ben Davidson's done this. Ben Davidson done that. Joshua and Ben Davidson's done this. I kept thinking, what has Ben? Oh, Ben Davidson's giving more balance. Ben Davidson's doing this. Anthony Joshua got absolutely smashed to bits. And I'm not saying this as a hater. I'm not saying this as a like I told you so. But it is what it is. In the cold light of day, when you overhype a person, when you dismiss another person to the point you're so dismissive you don't even give the person a chance, that's when upsets happen. And what you're seeing tonight is another reality check for all those people who are so dismissive, all those people who are so, like, they will not give another person credit and will dismiss another person as another person's ability and what they visibly can do. So, like, people looked at the in Francis Ngannou fight, and like, that's the image they had. If you hadn't seen Anthony Joshua fight before, you looked at Francis Ngannou fight and thought, right, this Joshua's a killer. And then if you'd watched Daniel Dubois like at a top table talking, you think, he ain't much. The problem that people don't understand with Dubois is that, oh, he's not the most intelligent in the world. Fine. He doesn't have to think. You should say, like, put the gloves on and attack. That's it. Attack without fear. And that's what Dubois got. Dubois got no fear. He's gone in with Usyk. He's gone on with Joyce. Both guys have got better chins than Joshua. Both guys have got better resistance than Joshua. Right? And both guys had fought Joshua. Both guys had fought Dubois. And both guys had never been stopped in their careers. The both of them. Usyk and Joyce. Like, and I warned you all. I told you. All Dubois has to do, straight lines. Just go in straight lines against Joshua. Hold on a second. Sorry. All he has to do is go in straight lines against Joshua. Just go in straight lines. Go in straight lines, double up the jab. Once you put the jab on Joshua and land the right hand, he's not going to offer anything back. That's exactly what it is. Listen to all these people talking, oh, Joshua can box off the front foot, he can box off the back foot. Yeah, he can do it against guys who can't punch. Right? If you take into consideration the Klitschko fight, I've said it before, I'll say it again, how I broke this fight down. You look at the Klitschko fight where Klitschko had Joshua out on his feet and he didn't follow up. That's one. Two, the Dillian White fight where Dillian White was injured going into that fight. And I told people he was injured going into the fight. Even then, he buckled Joshua there and Dillian White didn't finish up. I said, if somebody gets in there who's got faster hands and heavy-handed, you'll stop Joshua. I told you how he'd get knocked out by Andy Ruiz, the left hook. You know, you got somebody who's just like, I said, if he fights Josh the way he fought Herkovich, Joshua's not Herkovich. Joshua doesn't have a chin like Herkovich. Joshua can't box like Herkovich. Joshua hasn't got movement like Herkovich. And Joshua and Herkovich ain't been stopped. Whereas Joshua's already been stopped. You mean, this is a guy that was concerned about getting knocked out by Andy Ruiz. And to me, it was like a false bravado. The way Joshua was talking, the way he's been. And if you watch his press conferences, Joshua's press conferences are really give you a good idea generally what's going on. Don't take the Ngannou fight. Even I made the mistake with the Ngannou fight. Even I, and I was stupid because I live right next door to a bookies. I should go and put some money down, and I didn't. I didn't even bother. Even though I knew that Dubois had this fight. If you listen to the hype, even the way they were promoting the fight, the way the fight is being presented, Joshua. No, you can't just because you say or you want something so much that you're just dismissive of somebody else. Oh, we want Joshua versus Fury. We want Joshua versus Fury. This is what happens. You're trying to be smart, trying to be clever. And you think because you say something enough times, it's going to happen. No. You know, nobody took into consideration, or a lot of people didn't take into consideration Joshua's vulnerabilities. And they were exposed once again tonight. Are we going to see Fury versus Joshua? You really want to see that? Now, if Joshua if Joshua beat Dubois, would Dubois' career have been over? I don't know. But the fact that they were so dismissive of Dubois, they were so dismissive of him. Oh, Dubois gets hit with too many right hands. Yeah, he does. But look who's throwing those right hands. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of fake boxing media that say things because they want a backstage pass. They say things because they want to in people's good books. Be honest and open. That's how people make adjustments and make changes. You know, even in the Hellenius fight, Joshua was getting hit with big straight jabs. I mean, if you get hit with them jabs, the way that he was getting by Hellenius, you're going to get knocked out by Daniel Dubois. Like, I don't know how many ways I can say this to you, right? But you got to stop with all the hyping, stop with all the gassing, and give people credit where it's due. Stop this nonsense of just looking at a person and say, oh, he's going to knock him out. What are you basing it on? Are you basing it in reality and hard facts? Are you basing it on technical ability? Or are you basing it because you don't know the guy? Or because the guy doesn't sound as sharp around at a press conference? Guys like Daniel Dubois are dangerous because they don't think too tough. And that's not dismissive of Dubois. He's not think too much. It's not a guy you're going to get in his head and beat with the mind games like that. It's not happening. He's just guy, just like, you just wind him up like a wind up thing and set him out and just set him out, let him loose. The guy's a problem because he just doesn't think much to think about. A guy like him, you literally have to be like a David Hay, right? You have to hit Dubois and get out of there. Hit him and get out of there. Hit him and get out of there. Frustrate him. When he's up close, tie him up. Hit him on the inside and go. Do not stand around on the outside with a guy like Daniel Dubois. Hit and move, and then eventually start to walk Dubois back. But you can't. You just stand there and think you're just gonna. Dubois is gonna be easy on you. He's not. He's gonna come at you that same way all the time. So the heavyweight division have been put on alert. You've been put on alert. You now know. If the Herkovich fight didn't tell you something, then the Joshua fight is definitely tell you something now. A guy that him says that he was only fighting for money. He wasn't fighting for glory. Now, you've seen that right there tonight. Are you going to ask for Joshua to retire? Is it the end of his career now? I don't know. I hope that he's okay though, Joshua. I hope that he's intact and he's healthy and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's a serious business here, and I'm very thankful to Anthony Joshua for the stuff he's given to British boxing, because he's opened a lot of doors for a lot of fighters. I don't really appreciate all the hype that's around him, because there's a lot of hype, and the hype doesn't do a fighter any favors whatsoever. When the guy's doing like a post-fight, a not post weigh-in. Oh, Joshua, they're all here because of you, and do you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah. When you start to blow smoke up someone's ass, and they start to actually believe that, and they start to listen to that, it's 80-20% that Joshua's going to win the fight. Upset's in there for a reason, and nobody should be dismissive of a guy that, if you look at the form record coming in, Dubois had fought Usyk. He had fought what's this boy's name? Jerome Miller, never been stopped before. Herkovich, never been stopped before. Both guys were unbeaten. I know the Herkovich fight well. He got beaten by Zhang. So I tell you what, Dubois is a serious hombre. So I think Ajay Caballero will beat Dubois. Caballero will beat Dubois. He can manhandle Dubois, because he's got movement, he's got sense in his brain, and he's not just going to take Dubois lightly. Bacoli, I think Bacoli would get beat by Dubois, because Bacoli has got zero defense. He's got zero defense, and Anderson fight does not convince me that his defense has got improved at all. He's going to get hit with too many right hands. Then there's a guy that's got defensive issues, and I think the Anderson fight papered over the cracks. So Ajay Caballero is my boy. I rate Ajay Caballero. I think Ajay Caballero beats Dubois because he's the type of guy who's got that move. He's the type of guy that can get in and get out, and he can give Dubois problems. He can punch himself. He's got good stamina. He's got a good jab. He's got decent defense. He can move. He's a thinker, Caballero, and he could beat the crap out of Dubois, because Dubois is going to come straight one way. And when it comes to making the adjustments on the fly, he won't be able to do that. So Caballero might get some shots. I don't think he's going to hit as cleanly as Joshua. He's not. Because Caballero's not going to come out there with that sort of arrogant sort of, or have those mental vulnerabilities there. Do you understand? Caballero's not going to be intimidated by Dubois. So, and it's not about intimidation by Dubois. He punches hard, yes. But movement is what's going to give Dubois problems. Movement. You're not going to stand there and just stand and trade. Movement, boxing IQ. The guy like that is going to give him issues. So shout out to ST. Fights a young, hungry lion, gets stopped in the first round. So I think movement. So now I want to know where all them AJ fans are. I want to know where they are tonight. I want to know all these guys that had all the fairy tales about AJ. Oh, AJ's going to do this and AJ's going to do that. AJ's going to knock him out in 2 rounds. AJ's going to knock him out in a round. And Ben Davison, I'm sick of tired hearing that guy's name. Ben Davison's going to do this. Ben Davison did that. What happened when Joshua got hit on the chin? What did Ben Davison do? Ben Davison can't do anything. When you get hit on the chin, Ben Davison made Joshua much more confident now. You can see what Ben's doing. No, I can't see what Ben's doing. You can see Ben's Joshua being able to jab better. You can see Ben, he's making Joshua into a better fighter. Really? I just saw a guy got hit clean with a right hand. Oh, by the way, Joshua, Dubois is too open. He gets hit with the right hand too much. Who got hit with the right hand tonight? Told you, if you step to Joshua, double jab and push him. Not me, obviously, but a professional fighter who's got the physical size and power, double the jab and push Joshua back. That's what you do. Because when you land punches, he doesn't offer anything back. He doesn't like confrontation, Joshua, like that. He doesn't. Joshua's a good fighter when he boxes. And you allow him to box. You start to fight with Joshua. He starts to make mistakes and leave himself open. Because he doesn't like that. Particularly this stage of his career. The Klitschko fight is a fight he never wanted again. So, I told this Joshua Fury thing was the biggest distraction ever. And you might be looking at Usyk Dubois too. I don't know if Usyk wants that again. Yeah, I've tried to tell the truth, but I don't see when you Joshua weeks are like suckathon weeks, It's like who can suck, who can tell the most BS, who can kiss ass Joshua's ass the most in this week. I don't know. These people are getting paid by Joshua. I don't know if they get free seats. I don't know. But if they were just honest, just be honest. You do your fighter. You do the fighter. You do the nation a lot better than to talk so much crap. And there's so many other good trainers out in the UK and around the world that don't get the accolades. And this guy, Ben Davison, seems to get accolades for anything and everything. And I don't understand. I'm not saying Ben Davison is not a good trainer. But he's not what they're selling. I don't know what they're trying to sell us with Ben Davison. Don't get me wrong. He's good at what he does. But the media was going on some... I don't know. I don't know if they think he's Doctor Strange or... I don't know, Houdini. I don't know. Them kind of levels. Like... If Emmanuel Stewart was around today, they'd still be talking about Ben Davison. Ben can do this and Ben can do that and Ben can do this. No, stop it. Stop it. Ben's a good trainer. He's a good professional trainer. But he's no Houdini. He definitely is no Emmanuel Stewart, right? He's not a James Ali Bashir. All right? Let's put things in their levels, and their levels there for a reason. Stop the stuff about Ben Davison. Just stop it. I don't know if Ben wants it himself, but stop it. Stop it. There are so many other good... What about Don Charles? What about Don Charles? Why dudes not talk about Don Charles? How about Don Charles? I've always said Don Charles was a very good trainer. And if you had a good fighter beside him, right, you'd see the best of Don Charles. Like a good fighter that hadn't been like a young good fighter, not one that had been beaten up like countless of times and just been used now as a stepping stone. And I knew that when Dubois went to Don, that'd be the perfect connection. The perfect connection. And Spencer Thorne was saying how it was going to be a mismatch. What was he talking about? I don't know if he's saying it because there was something personal there. I don't know. But it's clear to see that was no mismatch. Not in the way of Dubois getting smashed by Joshua. Now people have to look at the facts and say, this guy, Dubois, takes a good shot. He's got a good engine. He can punch. And the other story, if Dubois is saying enough times, people are going to believe it again. If Dubois comes out, he's going to have rabbit in the headlights. He's going to be... Don't listen to that rubbish. Don't listen to that nonsense. When Frank Warren speaks, listen. I done told you about Frank Warren. I done warned you about Frankie Boy. I've been telling you for years about Frankie Boy. And everything I've been saying about Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn has been exposed. Eventually, it's all come out in the wash. Substance, Frank. Pay, Eddie. That is what it is exactly. That is what it is. Those are the facts. I just want to fight for you, five. I told you there was no way Eddie was winning at 5v5 against Frank. Frank is an OG when it comes to like getting your shit in order, matchmaking, that stuff. Frank is the man. It's not even a comparison. That's a freaking mismatch. What you saw between Joshua and Dubois is literally the levels between Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn when it comes to matchmaking and when it comes to building a fighter's career. You'll see that's the cold light of days what you're seeing today. Literally, hype versus substance. That's exactly what you're seeing today. That is the legacy of the two stables. And I'm not lying. I told you, like, if in terms of promotion, in terms of getting paid, whatever, the other side match you, cool. But when you talk about substance, we talk about legacy and records and matchmaking and genuine world champions, and Frank's your guy. If Eddie and Frank were to run the same organization, they'd be the best on the universe, the boxing universe. They would be, because Eddie would do the talking for the promotions, and Frank would set the fights up. That they would have an awesome. So you could call it Matchbury. Yeah, Matchbury. The best of Frank and the best of Eddie. Casual shout and dog got it, Ingram. Why must she be right so often? Well, I don't know about being right so often. Sometimes I can be misled, but I didn't even. Can I be really honest with you? Can I be honest with you? I didn't watch the fight. I listened to it on TalkSport. That's how uninterested I am. I've got my PS5 now. That's how really uninterested. I didn't play my PS5, by the way. I just laid down. It's the first show that I have been so disinterested in. I said, what other rubbish were they saying as well? I don't know. And the other thing they didn't learn, that Joshua did not learn from, and he should have learned from Hrgovic. History is the best teacher. When Hrgovic met Joshua, Hrgovic used to beat Dubois up in sparring, right? He was the big man. Yeah? Hrgovic was the big man. So he went into the fight against Dubois looking at Dubois as a small boy. Yeah? Joshua made the same mistake. He looked at Dubois as a little man, like a little boy. So when I step in the ring Saturday night, I'm going to manner him. I'm going to put him in his place. When Dubois turned, Josh said, "Who do you think you are? Who are you? Who exactly are you?" The only thing now, and I'm going to call it now as it is, it might not happen. But if they want things to go back in Joshua's favour, just say that Dubois was PED. If you want to fix things, if you want to put things right, just say that Daniel Dubois' substance comes back illegal. Just do that. And then you can sort of fix the Joshua story. But, yeah. And that sounds sinister. And that sounds so... I don't know what the word would be. It sounds so... That's how much faith I've got in this sport of boxing now. I will close on this. I do believe that the amount of shit that Dubois took for going down against Usyk and going down against Joyce, Joshua now has to answer some questions. And if he still wants to be heavyweight champion of the world, then I think he should go and fight Jarrell Miller. I think he should fight Jarrell Miller. Miller takes a good shot. Miller's going to come swinging. And that's a fight we need to see. Jerome Miller, and I always thought Jerome Miller would beat Anthony Joshua because he's got that same style, just come forward and chuck punches and got lots of a good chin and a big heart and lots of balls. I always thought the Miller was going to beat Joshua. To be fair, I honestly felt that. Can you believe AJ's downfall all started from a Miller failed drug test, lead to the Ruiz fight? How the world works. Thanks for this, Ingram. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Adam. Yeah, no, it started with someone's arrogance because they should have taken a Trevor. They had the Trevor Bryant fight there, but because somebody did not want to work with Don King, they went and worked with Andy Ruiz and decided to go with Al Heyman instead. That's where the problem started. If you go back and listen to my videos, I warned you AJ fans about taking AJ to America. I said, this ain't Frank Bruno, and this ain't Ricky Hatton. This is AJ, and this is social media. As if AJ goes to America, he can't crack America. He went once and he came flying back. He never came back. He never went back to America. He never went back to America. He failed in America. And AJ fans will not want to accept that, but he failed in America. He failed in America. Oh, Wembley's is AJ's home. Why is it AJ's home? Why is it AJ? What makes it AJ's home? What makes Wembley AJ's home? Because of the Klitschko fight. Oh, he's done it before, and he'll do it again. And then what? Bro, I'll tell you now, he ain't the landlord. And if he was the landlord, the keys have been taken, and there's a new sheriff in town. His name is Daniel Dubois. Dynamite Daniel Dubois has now got the keys to Wembley. 94,000. Yes. Daniel Dubois fought in front of 94,000 and dropped AJ in the first round and stopped him, knocked him out. Take that in your pipe and smoke it. He did it. And for all those people who said he couldn't do it in front of a crowd, he did it in front of 94,000 people. 1. 2, he didn't have rabbit in headlights. 3, it was not a mismatch. 4, Ben Davison was there. Ben Davison entered the arena. Ben Davison was in the corner, and Ben Davison was at the end of AJ defeat. Ben did nothing and was going to do nothing. So that's that. So all them stories. It doesn't matter how well you talk, because Joshua talked very well coming into this fight. It doesn't matter how well you talk, as to how you deliver on the night. And the postman always delivers. I just think that you have a mistaken identity who the postman is. So that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. That referee was disgusting. Like the German home fighters. Exactly. The mark of a champion is that he can fight everywhere and anywhere. Wilder versus AJ. Let's see. Now let's see Miller versus AJ. Forget Wilder. Miller versus AJ. Let's see that one, because now we're going to get entertainment. We ain't got a guy that's washed up or got a terrible trainer. We got a guy who fought in his last fight against Andy Ruiz, took what Andy Ruiz had. Let's fight Miller. Let's see Miller versus Joshua. Let's see that one, because you know that's going to be an entertaining press conference. You know that Miller's going to bring it and Joshua's going to have to bring something back. I don't think Joshua beats Miller, but we'll see. To me, this validates the rumor that it was that Dubois that dropped and concussed AJ in sparring in the run-up to your first Ruiz fight. Dubois concussed him. Wasn't Dubois that concussed him. It was the Joey Dubois. Joey Dubois concussed AJ in sparring. I think it was an NDA that was signed. And then in the press conference, like I keep saying over and over again, the press conference, there was a sports writer who asked the question, were you seeing a sports psychologist because you were scared of getting knocked out by Andy Ruiz? I'll never forget the question, but the media kept that quiet. AJ ducked Wilder because he lost. Wilder will fight him. Yes, Ingram, we called it lying. It was that guy. I didn't know that. Thanks for clearing that up. AJ made Daniel Dubois look like Larry Holmes. Well, no, don't worry. Let's just wait for it. And Don Charles. Again, we go back to Don Charles. I want to hear them talk with the same energy they talked about Ben Davison, like Don Charles. I do. I do, because Don Charles has made Dubois into that fighter. Don Charles has looked at Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson and put it together with Daniel Dubois. Fire Bon Pon around overrated Ben Davison. Joey lost last night to Torres. Okay, Wilder would KO AJ 5 years ago. Yeah, he may have done. He may have done. Don Charles came up with the hell of a plan to keep Dubois on target every second of the fight. I told you what to do. I told you what was needed to do against Joshua. Double the jab, push him back, and land the right hand. He will not offer no resistance. When you hit him and you hurt him, he'll offer little to no resistance. I told you all that. Don Charles must learn from James Elliott Bashir. Smart man. Yeah, he did. He did. There's a lot of credit needs to be given. And this is also what happens. This is karma as well. This is what happens when you disrespect trainers such as Derek James, James Elliott Bashir, and you don't get the right tutelage and you think you can do it yourself. This is what happens. This is what happens. Because I always said AJ should have gone with James Elliott Bashir. James Elliott Bashir was the right-hand man to Emmanuel Stewart. Forget the media and the jolly-come-latelys that are now interviewing him, right? I've been talking to James Elliott Bashir for years. This is the man that was the right-hand man to Emmanuel Stewart. How can the man who's the right-hand man to Emmanuel Stewart be downplayed for Ben Davison? That just tells you what the substance of the boxing media is today. Somebody's saying, oh yeah, AJ can box on the front foot and he can box on the back foot. Oh really, can he? Can he now? Okay. Yeah, it's like, boxing media like video games. Like they've got their own version of fighters and they add these little bit of spices on top. He can box backwards. Oh, he can do backflips. I'm like, no, he can't. He can't fight off the back foot. Not against a guy who's actually thumping him with something. You can box on the back foot against somebody who ain't got no punching power or nobody's got any threat or puts the fear of God in you. It's different. Let me see you fight off the back foot against a man who puts the fear of God in you and punches like a mule. Then I'll know if you can fight off the back foot. If you can fight off the back foot against a guy who can't punch, that doesn't prove you can. Or a guy who can't box. Just absolute rubbish. Absolute nonsense. Do you listen to... And all these guys that talk this rubbish, yeah, they should get fired. They should literally get fired. I mean, like, some of the garbage they come up with. Like, if you watch Spencer... what's his name? And I like him as well. He's former European champion. Spencer Oliver. My God. It's too close. Guys like that should not commentate. Guys like that should not be around Joshua fights. They shouldn't. You're good mates. Keep away. Anybody who's a close friend of Anthony Joshua should not be doing commentary because they're not going to give you the truth. It's just as bad as if my brother was fighting and you asked me in the commentary box, or John Fury's in the ring. John Fury's in the commentary team, right? And his son's fighting. What, do you expect him to talk shit of it about his son? I mean, you're not getting an objective view. It's crap. So these people should not commentate on the Joshua fight, because if you ask them a question, they're not going to answer objectively. And a lot of these people in the boxing media, they're good friends. So they're like, I don't want to offend his feelings. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to get caught on YouTube. Oh yeah, you went against me, didn't you, man? You're not getting no tickets for the next fight, mate. No, you're not getting no tickets for the next fight. No, you got no access. You can't interview me no more, man. So no. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. You cannot keep building your history and building your legacy on people being in fear of what, by telling the truth. By telling the truth, that's how we can get to the root of a problem and we can fix the problem. The fact of the matter is, AJ fans and AJ, you never repaired the damage for the first Ruiz fight. Whether it was delusion, whether it was ignorance, whether it was people blowing smoke up your ass, you did not fix the problem with the Ruiz fight. Because initially, when you started your boxing career, you're around people who were not from the boxing world. The problem started there. And then you had a promoter blowing smoke up your ass and not telling the truth. And instead you having someone like James Ellerby, a proper, no disrespect to Rob McCracken. McCracken did a good job to a point. But if you talk about legacy in heavyweight boxing, you bring a guy in that's got legacy. So you're bringing in a James Ellerby. And forget about what you think personally of the man. You're here to do a job. It's business. And for that, Wilder and Joshua, the pair of them, have suffered because they've got people who had no business being in the legacy of heavyweight boxing. Facts. McCracken? No. Sorry. McCracken's a good trainer. I'm not knocking Rob McCracken as an amateur trainer. I'm not even knocking McCracken as a professional trainer, right? But when you talk about heavyweight boxing, not middleweight boxing, heavyweight boxing, McCracken's name should not be even mentioned, right? So the next one, Angel Fernandez or Angel Fernandez, heavyweight boxing. What? No. Next. Robert Garcia. Why? He trained one genuine fighter. Why? Derek James actually was a heavyweight himself and would have taught, and if you were going to bring Derek James in, you wouldn't have, as soon as he left, McCracken should have gone straight to Derek James or brought in James Ellerby. That's what should have happened. But it didn't. And when you put people in airplanes who can't fly heavyweight planes, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. You're not prepared to pay for the services of a heavyweight trainer that's trained great fighters. Because either you don't think you're a great fighter, the people around you don't value heavyweight history, but you will pay. The boxing gods will make you pay, right? They do. So ultimately, Joshua could have been undisputed heavyweight champion. I remember talking to people like Stacey McKinley, James Ellerby, two heavyweight trainers. And it's just a waste of talent of Anthony Joshua. Absolute waste of talent. So, I just wonder, in the area of Emmanuel Stewart, that a lot of people said he's the best trainer in the world and stuff. Would Joshua have been trained by Emmanuel Stewart? Probably not. Would Emmanuel Stewart have even looked at Anthony Joshua? Don't know. Because he would have said, if you look at a lot of the fighters that Emmanuel Stewart picked up, I'm not saying about fighters, he did work with fighters as well, right? But the huge majority of those fighters were previous world champions, had proven themselves. It's what it is. So you cut short, you cut corners, thinking you can cut corners, and you just spit in the face of boxing royalty. You spit in the face of boxing royalty, and that's what you get back in return. The boxing gods are unforgiving. Bernard Hopkins once said, "I'll never let a white boy beat me." Who knocked him out, literally out of boxing. Knocked him out through the ropes. Never came back. Just saying. The boxing gods respect the boxing world. Don't take shortcuts. You think you're smart, try and take shortcuts. Can't take shortcuts. Don't. You talk about boxing legacy. And then you have the nerve to call Lennox Lewis a clown. Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You know, I was watching Joshua tonight box, and I couldn't believe seeing what Dubois was doing. He was catching Joshua with big shots. Was hitting with the right hand. Joshua didn't have any answers to those punches. Big up to Dubois. He did what he had to do, but Joshua didn't do what he had to do. And ultimately, what was the game plan? What was the game plan by Ben Davison and Anthony Joshua? You invested in Ben Davison. You could have had James Alibashir in your corner. You picked Ben Davison. You could have had James Alibashir versus Alexander Usyk, the guy that trained Alexander Usyk. You decided not to. You could have had him in the Usyk fights. Instead, you picked who? Robert Garcia. Hey, just look at the history of heavyweight boxing. How many times even bloody go and pick Freddie Roach. At least pick Freddie Roach. Goosen. Bloody Teddy Atlas. I don't rate Atlas at all. I think he's just a loudmouth guy, but Eddie Atlas. At least he's got some legacy there in heavyweight boxing. But my goodness, you spit in the face of boxing royalty. You had James Alibashir in camp with you. But your think tank and the people around you thought they knew better. Well, you all were not educated about the boxing gods. You weren't. And yes, I was right. And yes, I told you so. And yes, you can't take shortcuts in boxing. You can't ignore the facts. I'm a part-timer in this, man. I'm in a totally different sport, and I'm only just now, while I'm at the job I'm in now, I might start picking up some boxing gloves and start doing back into some boxing coaching. And even the day I'm doing that, I'm going to be asking boxing experts to come in and help me run boxing sessions. Do you understand? People who have done it and are pro trainers, I will go to and ask. Even if I'm not going to be a pro trainer myself, I will do that. I would go and seek that wisdom. Do you get it? I don't understand the logic of, if I'm going to see a doctor, I'm going to see the best doctor. If I don't know. I'm lost. Let's do this. In my time, I was the pugilist specialist. I'm just from a bygone era. It's what I am. It's what I do. You don't play boxing. You don't. And when you're trying to be a businessman and trying to, make money and when you put in business before boxing, yeah, business will handle itself. Don't worry. Business doesn't need you to handle it. Business will handle itself. Well, just now, do yourselves all a favor. Go back this whole week and listen to the build-up of Joshua versus Dubois. How dismissive they were to Dubois and how much bullshit was being spoken about Joshua. Go back and listen. Go back and watch the comments and all the things people write and all the bots. Go back and listen to the two promoters talking. Go back and watch the talk about the sparring sessions. Go back. And listen. But listen with different ears this time. And listen to how many fairy tales you've been told over the last week or two. I'm looking forward. This is not a. I want to make it very clear. Seeing anybody get hit, hurt, and knocked out in boxing is not cool. Of course, you enjoy it because obviously that's why you like boxing. You want somebody's got to beat and somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, right? But I don't have any malice towards Anthony Joshua. I don't hate Anthony Joshua. I'm not a hater. The people who really hate Anthony Joshua are the ones that will not see areas for him to improve, that will not call out BS for when they see it. Because if you're any sort of friend, what's a real friend going to do? A real friend's going to say, look, bro, you're not really making the right moves here for your career. You're not really doing the right things. Or I think really you should consider getting the best guy in for the job. And the guys you're bringing in for the job, I just want you for the money. They don't care about your vision to become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. A hater, a real hater. Think about this. A real hater will watch you fall on the ground and smile at you and see you fall. A real hater. So anybody who calls me a hater for trying to guide the career of Anthony Joshua, anyone who calls me a hater for trying to warn Anthony Joshua or to advise Anthony Joshua, who are you to advise Anthony Joshua? I'm just the guy who spoke to arguably the best heavyweight champion we've had since Emmanuel Stewart. And considering the fact that Emmanuel Stewart would counsel with James Bashir, and if you rate Emmanuel Stewart so highly, and Emmanuel Stewart was basically calling James Bashir from across another side of the world to come back and help him in heavyweight fights, like for advice in fights. You know, you learn a lot. Anyway, enough from me. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's boxing. I'm dying to know what the plan was in camp, what the sparring was, and who helped with it. Yes, I told you Don Charles would have done, because I've been and watched Don Charles in camp. I've watched Don Charles work. Don Charles is a damn good trainer. You look at the state of what Daniel Dubois was, and remember, wasn't Dubois being trained by McGuigan as well? There are trainers and there are trainers. Stop saying about Ben Davison and let's talk about Don Charles. Donald Charles. Yeah, let's talk about Don Charles for a moment, right? Let's talk about Don Charles. British, Commonwealth, European, world. Isn't Don Dubois a two-time champion, heavyweight champion? Didn't he win that belt, the WBA belt? He had the WBA belt. He's won the IBF belt. I mean, it's a good run. Right. Don Charles. Say the name and put some respect on it. Danny Dubois, congratulations. Well done. Anthony Joshua, it's going to be a long ride in the car back to Watford. And you take a seriously think about, I mean, you still could become world heavyweight champion again. You still could become 3-time, but the approach would have to be very different. And I don't know if the scars from the first Ruiz fight was ever treated. And the breakdown in the second fight, whether that was truly healed. And now this defeat right here was the worst of them because it was done at the home of boxing. It was the living nightmare. The landlord had the keys well and truly ripped from him. And the emperor had his pants down, and the whole world saw that he wasn't new clothes, he was actually naked. Thank you very much for watching BWTM Sports. I'm out. Have a great night and take care.